Hey y'all, this is your daily drip for Sunday, November 30th, 2025. And as a reminder, Daily Drip is your quick astro check-in where I pull the chart for 6 a.m. from my location in central Pennsylvania and translate the sky into something you can actually use for self-awareness, choices, and healing. So today is Sunday, the sun's day. In astrology, we talk about planets and are including both the sun and the moon, even though that's not astronomically the case. But that's just the language of the tradition. But in case you didn't know, each day of the week is tied to a planet. So Sunday belongs to the sun. Monday belongs to the moon. Tuesday belongs to Mars. Wednesday belongs to Mercury. Thursday belongs to Jupiter. Friday belongs to Venus. And Saturday belongs to Saturn. Now, here's a quick side note. I happen to be born on a Monday, so that's a moon day. And Mondays have always felt like the real start of the week for me. So you might notice that the day you were born on feels similar and has this feels like the reset to my week sort of energy. And quick logistics for you. Daily Drip lives here in the community every day, so you can always pop in and catch it when you're ready. Sundays, however, are naturally about your core self, your vitality, your identity, who you really are, and how you show up. You might notice that whatever you do today either fuels your light or drains it. So keep that in mind. Be careful how you treat Sunday. Now, the big shift from yesterday to today is really the moon. So at 6 a.m., the moon was at 5 degrees and 45 minutes of Aries. So in my 3-scoop language that I've talked about yesterday and the day before, this means we have Aries energy, but it's in the Aries Decan and the Gemini Duad. Now, yesterday the moon was still in Pisces in that deep emotional rinse over the North Node, which was very much given, I'm feeling all of this, something's ending. I'm aware of what's not working anymore. Now today, with the moon in early degrees of Aries, the vibe is more like, okay, so what am I going to do about it? So we got to be in our fields. Now we got to do something about it. Aries is cardinal fire. So it's about initiative, the first steps, fresh impulses, and courage in the moment. With this energy being in the Gemini Duad, it adds a flavor of words, curiosity, and conversation. Not just acting, but naming what you're doing, asking questions, and maybe sending that text or starting that conversation. You know which one. I don't have to tell you. You know which one. You do. So do it. But in the chart of the day, the moon is in the 5th house, saying that the emotional focus is on self-expression, joy, creativity, and play. It's also about your romantic pleasure or just pleasure in general and how much space your inner child actually gets in your world. Now, that's interesting because the 5th house is naturally ruled by Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun. So again, the sun theme is fitting in here. Now, we still have the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, Saturn and Neptune in late Pisces, Ceres, the moon, and Chiron in Aries, Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus, Venus at 29 degrees of Scorpio, and Mercury in Scorpio, now direct. So underneath this Aries moon, we're still in the longer story about leaving behind that over-functioning Virgo South Node pattern, especially when it comes to work and reputation. And moving forward, in a more soulful, emotionally honest Pisces North Node speaks to roots and foundations. So Venus and Uranus are both at the anaretic 29th degree. And what that speaks to me right now is that relationships, self-worth, and how you show up with other people are at a tipping point. You might be very clear on who or what does not feel aligned right now. Mercury's still in Scorpio on the 12th, now direct. So a lot of the mental processing is still happening behind the scenes in your subconscious, in your dreams, and in those quiet thoughts that sneak in when you're not distracted. Now, something very important to talk about today because Venus is going to be making a shift. When I pulled the chart at 6 a.m., Venus was still at 29 degrees of Scorpio, which, of course, I've mentioned this before, it's an anaretic critical degree. It speaks to being the last degree of a sign, because in astrology, we account for 30 degrees for each sign, but we count them beginning with 0 and ending with 29. So later today, Venus is going to move into Sagittarius, shifting from fixed water energy to mutable fire. That's definitely a whole mood change. Now, when Venus was in late degrees of Scorpio, this was deep, intense, all or nothing type of love, like a merging obsession, even bordering on possessiveness. It could kind of give wanting to know everything about a partner or people, like the motives that they actually have, their secrets, their fears. And money and resources were tied to emotional entanglement, power, or shared resources, right? We're moving from that energy into the energy of Venus being in Sagittarius, which really does give love as an adventure, or needing more space and honesty in relationships, being turned on by learning, exploration, humor, or shared beliefs, and money and pleasure being tied to expansion, things like travel, education, experience. Like, it's the energy of let's see what's out there in the world. So today we're straddling that threshold of going from, if I can't have all of you, what is this even, to if we can't grow, laugh, and be free together, what is this even? If you have Venus in Sagittarius natally, then you're entering your Venus return, which is a moment when transiting Venus comes back to the same sign and degree it was in when you were born. A Venus return usually happens around kind of like once a year, though the exact timing can shift depending on Venus being retrograde. And sometimes you can even get more than one in a year. Think of Venus returns kind of like resets or a new chapter surrounding Venus things like love and relationships, money and income tied to your talents and your self-worth, aesthetics, style and beauty, pleasure, comforts, and what you genuinely enjoy. It's like the universe saying, okay, here's your yearly update on what you value and how you want to connect and what you're ready to receive. And remember, Venus rules both Taurus, and through the Taurus expression, it's possessions, values, money, food, land, your body, and 5 senses type pleasure. While it also rules Libra, which is one-to-one connections, contracts, partnership, marriage, aesthetics, fairness, and reciprocity. So a Venus return can feel like a recalibration in how you price yourself and your work, what and who you see as actually being worth it to you, and how you want love to feel and look. This can also be what kind of beautiful, pleasurable life you're actually creating for yourself. So it's a reset to those things. So if your natal Venus is in Sagittarius, well, happy Venus return to you. Pay attention to what's shifting in your love life, money, and pleasure patterns over the next few weeks. Those are really some good clues about your new Venus cycle. Put simply, though, today's chart says you've been feeling a lot, those Pisces moon days ending and now going into action. You've seen where your energy is leaking and where you're overdoing it for others. And now the moon in Aries is like, all right, cool. What's one thing we can change? And Venus moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius is also like, can love and money stop being trauma reenactments and start being more honest, spacious, and fun? The Aries moon in the Aries decan in Gemini Dawad is like an emotional impulse to act, but it's mixed with the need to speak, ask, or name something with that Gemini flavor. So Venus stepping into Sag is saying, I want relationships and resources that actually help me grow. And I want truth, laughter, and adventure, not just intensity and drama. This doesn't have to be huge, dramatic moves. No, you can think of things like micro boundaries, small, brave actions, or little sparks of this is who I am now in how you dress, talk, post, or show up today. So here's a few ways that you can work with today's energy. So you do one small brave thing and ask yourself, what is one action I've been hesitating on that would honor how I actually feel right now? Then all you have to do is take the smallest possible version of that step. Another thing you could do is give your inner child the microphone. Okay. Moon in the 5th house says your inner child wants attention. Do something low stakes and fun. Something like listening to music, drawing, dancing, gaming, coloring, watching something silly. It doesn't have to be productive. It just has to feel like you. And this part is really important. You want to say the thing that needs to be said. With the moon being in that Gemini duad, some of us really do need to use our words. Okay. So a simple, hey, I don't have the energy for that today. If, someone has expectations of you that you're not up for meeting, or I'd actually prefer to do insert thing here instead. Or you know what? I realized I changed my mind. Honor what you actually are willing to commit to today. And another important thing to do is to check where you're performing versus actually living. A Sunday plus an Aries moon plus Venus shifting into Sag and all of that late Pisces energy that we have, it is screaming. Are you living for your own light or still performing for someone else's expectations? This is not a day where you should expect to fix everything, right? But you can notice where the performance is the loudest. Tap in with yourself to figure that out. So an affirmation that you could speak out loud today would be, small, brave moves count. I'm allowed to act on what I've learned about myself and invite in a new kind of love, money, and joy. It's newness. So that's your daily drip for today. I love you. And don't forget to let the sun's day fuel your light. Let that Aries moon push you into honest action. And let Venus and Sag open the door to a freer, more joyful version of what you love and what it is that you value.